But then I can't tell. I can't tell because we're all dark. Yeah, that's good.
That's good? Okay.
Hmm.
Hi, Tiff.
Hey, Jim.
Dr. Tiff. How was your week?
Awesome. I am just so excited to wake up and keep doing the things we do every day. So, yes, wonderful week.
For real. For real.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I agree. And I decided my family's on vacation, and I decided that I wanted to do the live from the deck. So it's my understanding, every time I move, there's a
Yeah.
chance that I become dark and kind of hard to see, but it's the better view back there. It's beautiful. That's the ocean, I guess the Gulf. And so I figured I would do the live from here because why not? It's
Why
absolutely
not?
beautiful.
I
Why not?
know.
And I just heard Dr. Tiff is going to be in Miami in a few weeks. Maybe Dr. Tiff should do her live from her back deck.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you think? We'll do a thing.
Yes, I will.
Folks, welcome to our live stream. So my name is Jim, and this is Dr. Tiffany Marie, and we do this live stream every single week, and I love doing it. I really do enjoy doing this. You know, Tiff, I was listening to somebody, a live stream yesterday on TikTok where somebody was interviewing somebody else, and they said that we had affected their life in a very positive way, and it's the craziest thing to think
Wow.
that this live stream it's getting out there and it's changing lives. So folks, if you've been invited to this live stream, if somebody has invited you, if somebody's tagged you in this, if somebody's shared this with you, they think that the information in this live stream would benefit you. So stick around, listen to it. It's only an hour long. Most of it is Dr. Tiffany and some amazing guests, a little bit of the Joker here. But we try and share really, really good information. And it really, truly is life-saving information, life-changing information. Our goal is to change the quality of your life. So stick around and just listen to this. You might learn something new. Maybe you apply something that you learned from this to something you're already doing. Or maybe you say, you know what, nothing I'm doing is working. And this is sounds like a great direction. So stick around, listen to this. For the sake of this conversation, my name is Jim Grasser. I was a career lumber guy. I worked in the lumber industry forever. I've loved doing barbecue. I competed in the Kansas City Barbecue Society professional competitive barbecue tour. I love doing that. I love cooking that. And then I got really sick. I got really, really sick. I think it was the job. I've been trying to really pinpoint when things changed for me. And I think I was working and I kind of just, you get into this funk. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I got into this funk where I didn't like going to work. I didn't like the career that I was in anymore. And I was really, really, really struggling. And, I think when you go there in your mind, you kind of just stop caring about everything. I kind of quit caring about the food that I was eating. And I started having fast food. I love McDonald's. I was there every day. And you start doing that sort of stuff. And I got very, very, very sick. In fact, I had a 12.2% A1C. I had a 459 LDL. I went on to the usual suspects. Our friend Rose says it's your starter pack was 40 milligrams a day of rosuvastatin calcium to lower my cholesterol. I was on 2,000 milligrams a day of metformin because every type 2 diabetic, that's the first thing they get, right, doctor? And then I was on a 4.5 milligram pen of Trulicity. That's similar to Ozempic and Mounjaro. All three of those are maximum doses. I was 45 years old. I was on 3 different maximum dose medications at 40. Actually, I was 44. And I mean, there's not really an end in sight. It was going to be like that for the rest of my life. And I was also on losartan for my blood pressure. And I felt like I was happy that we caught it in time and that I was able to live. And don't ever miss these medications. Don't ever miss it. I literally thought, Dr. Tiffany, I don't know if I ever told you this or not. I thought that if I missed one single rosuvastatin calcium, that I could have a heart attack.
Wow.
Yeah, I was there. I was there. And I remember I wanted to take my Trulicity pen on Sundays because, if you're traveling, Sunday's a day when you can be at home. I literally wanted to travel more, so I took my Trulicity pen on Sunday. Well, when I got prescribed on Thursdays. And I was like, how do I stretch this thing out to take it on Sunday? It was the biggest thing in the world for me to just start stretching it out over the course of a month, one extra day. And I thought, man, the diabetes is going to get me. It was that kind of a mindset that these things were literally all it took. And today, I am completely unmedicated. I don't take any medications because my doctor said I don't have to. And I have a 4.8% A1C. I've completely reversed type 2 diabetes,
Yes.
something that just 5 years ago was considered unattainable. My cholesterol levels are all in the normal ranges. My blood pressure for the first time in 25 years is normal. I feel like $1 million, Dr. Tiff.
Right.
I feel like $1 million. That is me, guys. It's a longer intro than I normally give myself, but I got on a roll and I talk too much. So I'll just shut up and let Dr. Tiff talk.
No, that was good. I mean, that's what happens when you're at the beach and you're like loving your life. You do
Mm-hmm.
all of that. So, yeah, thanks for sharing because that's a remarkable story. Hence why, me as a medical doctor, I don't just play one on social media. I am board certified in family medicine and was doing that for 20 years. I was the one handing out the losartan, the atorvastatin, the metformin. I was that person. And I was doing what I knew to do because I didn't really believe the lifestyle changes were going to do anything because I didn't see it happening enough. I ended up deciding, look, I'm getting older and this can't be my life. So there's got to be something else. And I got board certified in lifestyle medicine to learn more about going after the root causes of conditions. And that's when I started getting on social media saying, hey, everybody, if you really change your lifestyle, you can actually reverse diabetes. Da, 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 da. And that's how I got connected with our mutual friend who was like, oh my gosh, you are saying the same things we're saying. Have you heard about these tools? And like some of you on here, yeah, I was skeptical. Who's going to think some natural tools are going to do what Jim had happen to him? I didn't believe it, but I vetted the studies. Just like I did when the pharmaceutical reps would come to my office and they'd be like, hey, prescribe this new drug. I'd be like, show me the studies. How much does it cost? And why do I need to prescribe it over what I've been prescribing? Same thing I did with these products. How much does it cost? Why do I need to actually recommend that instead of prescriptions? And where's the studies? And once I did all that, that answered everything for me. I started letting my family use it, helping my brother get off of his insulin, his Trulicity, took his little happy butt out the ICU with these natural products, helped my mom, 70-year-old with multiple sclerosis, who actually would have her leg dragging because of that's how the symptoms affected her. But she's been able to wear her heels, go with us to Vietnam, and play pickleball when she wants to do that. So I was able to go for my blood pressure medicine, stop the hot flashes, and I am on here like
She
5 years.
went from dragging a leg to playing pickleball.
Well, you know what? Yes, she
I love
did.
that.
She
I
stopped
love
wearing her
that.
heels. Now she's wearing her heels again, trying to be cute.
I love that, Dr. Tiff. You also kind of just glazed over it, but your brother no longer takes insulin.
Mm-hmm.
You've changed. Dr. Tiffany, for those that are listening right now, Dr. Tiffany is quite amazing, and I'm enamored with you, Dr. Tiff. I've known you for about a year and a half now, maybe a little. I think I met
Yeah.
you in December of 23 in Huntsville,
Yeah.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Um, and from the very first time that I met you, I felt like you were special. I could tell that you had the a good heart. Your heart was in the right place. And I kind of, for those of you who don't know, I'm very, very, very skeptical of the pharmaceutical industry, and it's hard for me. I have to take myself out of being a skeptic of the healthcare system, right? We want to easily call it the wealth care system, right? And you want to start saying, oh, the doctors, they're in big pharma's back pockets, and are big pharma's in their back pockets, and they're just getting back end deals. They're all making millions of dollars by keeping us sick, and that's all they want to do, keep us sick so that we keep their Maseratis in their garage and all this. And literally on the first time that I met you, I remember, Dr. Tiff, you letting me kind of not grill you, but I got to ask you some questions that were a little pointed. I wouldn't say I went at you, but I felt like I could tell right away that
Yeah.
you were willing to accept. You know what it was? I had said a lot of people have lost faith in the medical system, and you responded with something like, yeah, we've kind of done that. And it was something to that tone that maybe we kind of deserve that a little bit. And when you said that to me, I remember thinking, wait, that wasn't supposed to be your answer. That wasn't supposed to be your answer. And anyway, long, but we love you, Dr. Tiff. We really, really love you. So
Love you back.
thank you for being. She gives us her time every single week, guys. She doesn't have to do this. And I'm not paying her. None of us are paying her.
Nope.
She just does this. Comes out and gives her 20 years of being a doctor. Anyway, the way that this kind of goes is we do some introductions, get to know us, but then we also bring in a couple of testimonials, and I love the testimonials. Can't get enough of the testimonials. Love, love, love the testimonials. And tonight we've got some amazing testimonials, some that are, almost not believable. Like, wow, that's crazy. Where do you want to start, Dr. Tiffany?
Well, you know what we do? We have some beautiful women backstage that have some amazing stories. I'm a little partial to mine. I love Sherry. This lady, you know how you just call somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, I can stay on the phone with you forever. She's just the sweetest woman. And, I'm not going to say too much about her story, but one thing about as soon as she started having fun doing this, she had to tell the whole world too. And I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And she doesn't do this. Okay, this is big to get Sherry on here. So I'm excited to have her today.
Well, and so before you, I think you weren't in the. It was just her and I backstage coming into the live stream today, and she said, "Well, you're in Florida," and I was like, "How did you know that?" I mean, I guess you could tell maybe. And she goes, "Well, I watched last week. You said you're going to be in Florida." She watches us every single week, and so I think
Yes.
that plays into this. And real quick, that's something I forgot to say, but there are thousands of people that watch this live stream every single week.
Mm-hmm.
And that is super, super cool. Super, super cool. Look at all the love you're getting, Dr. Tiffany. Look at
Oh,
that.
I appreciate
Look at
all of
all.
you.
Sherry, tell us
Hi.
your story.
Okay, I am almost 54 years old, type 2 diabetic, been type 2 diabetic for years. Blood pressure medicines, cholesterol medicines, nothing was changing. I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw everybody talking about it. So I watched for a little while and doctor told me, well, your medicine's not working. Maxed out dosage of metformin. They put me on Ribelsis, the lowest dose. I got sick on it, was vomiting. And so I stopped taking it myself. My blood sugars every morning were between 215 and 240-ish every single morning. My A1C was 9.2. I went to my last doctor appointment, which was 3 months ago. She told me, she says, we're going to put you on something else. I said, just let me try it on my own. I go back next week. We'll find out how that goes. But I came home, kept watching TikTok. A couple months later, I ended up and I ordered it. Got it at home, set it on my table, didn't touch it. And then my husband, what is that? Oh, it's this stuff I bought. It's supposed to get me off of metformin and blah, blah, blah. Well, he says, I want to try. My husband has sleep apnea. He's been on a CPAP machine for about a month. I have a 15-year-old daughter. She has PCOS, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, obese. And she's been on Wegovy and she got really sick on the Wegovy. So we stopped taking it and the endocrinologist wants to give her more. So anyways, my husband and I, we start taking the program. And it was like 2 days. And I also have degenerative disc, major bad in my neck. I have ankylosing spondylosis, arthritis in my hips. And the second or the third day of taking the program, I was like, I don't have any pain. I'm like, you've got to be kidding. I can move moves that I haven't moved in years. So me and my husband, we were talking because my daughter, she had an appointment with the endocrinologist a couple weeks ago. And I told my husband, I said, I wonder if my daughter can do this. And he says, I don't know. I said, well, we're going to do it. So I ordered 3 more kits and we got them in. My daughter, she's been on it for, me and my husband started the 3rd. She started like the week after that, like the 10th or something. And she had her endocrinology appointment. I asked the doctor, can Emily try this? And she says, by all means, yes. She said, if her non-alcoholic, if her NAFL her blood test doesn't come back right, then we're going to send her and have an ultrasound done so we can see exactly what's going on. But we believe that the cause of it is because she's obese. She weighed 310 pounds. And as of today, she's lost 13 pounds. She's lost the dark skin around her neck. She had it in the creases of her neck, the creases of her arm. My husband, he sleeps with a CPAP machine, and prior to starting this, his numbers were 2 point something incidences per minute. He got up this morning and it was 0.1 incidents per minute. And my husband's lost 22 pounds.
How long has it been on the system?
May 3rd we started.
Awesome.
So a month and a day.
A couple days.
Yeah. And I didn't need to lose any weight, but I have lost 10 pounds. My blood sugar levels in the morning when I check them are around 130 to 140-ish. Haven't seen that in a long time. I had a time where I had to call Dr. Tiffany. I'm like, my blood sugar is low. What do I do? What do I do? And I checked it and it was 100. But I was literally sick and shaking like my blood sugar was low. So I did research and found out that if your blood sugars have been so high, when it goes to 100, your body thinks it's actually low. Well, today I was cooking dinner and I started getting the shakes again. I'm like, oh, my sugar must be 100. Tiffany, I checked it. It was 87. So getting better.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's amazing. My daughter's right here. I have this is before, a photo of her May the 6th.
Oh, yes.
And
well, you can just show me now.
That's her now. She says, you can show me now. My daughter.
Sounds like a 15-year-old.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yay. I appreciate you getting on this live. I'm so excited you did that. All I've done is hear about you, so it's nice to see you.
Yeah, she's extremely shy. So for her to agree to come on, because I told her, I said, come on, baby. I said, get on there and talk about, I mean, my biggest thing was with me, like I was telling you earlier, was that I'm not a caffeine drinker. And I was scared I'm going to get the jitters. How's it going to make me feel? I feel great. That's how it makes me feel. I have no anything negative with the caffeine in it. I can drink it even while I'm laying in bed and have no problems. Do you get the jitters or anything, Emily?
But caffeine usually doesn't affect me that much. So
yeah. Does it make you feel better?
Because you're young.
Yeah.
Does it make you feel better? Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Makes her feel good. Yeah. So I mean, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And my husband, he loves it. He's like, baby, you got it. And he goes around and he tells all his friends at work, and there's several people at his job. They're like, well, we'll see what happens after 3 months. Okay, but you're going to, you go ahead and you wait for 3 months, but you're going to wish you had started 3 months ago.
Yes.
Because I sure wish whenever I first saw the first TikTok about it, I wish I would have just said, let's do it. Because I could have already been off my metformin. I could have been off my medications. And I mean, it's wonderful. I can't praise it.
That is what I hear the most.
Yep.
If there was one thing, it is that right there. I wish I wouldn't have waited. I wish I wouldn't have waited. You know what? You waited. You're here. You're here now.
Yeah, and it's never too late. It's never too late. But like my mama always told me, you cannot put a price on your health. And that is absolutely the truth. That is absolutely the truth. It is. That's why I tell everybody about it. That's why I'm so adamant. I'm passionate about this because I know what it's done for me in this short time. I know how it makes me feel. I feel like I haven't felt in 20 years or more. I mean, I love it. I love it.
Well, I kind of almost feel like it might be divine intervention because you were supposed to link up with me, Sherry. That's what that was. That's how I'm gonna take that.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
No, there was no deny. She didn't disagree with that at all. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're right.
I agree. But
okay, well, Sherry, what I'm going to do is I want to transition over to giving Dr. Tiff the spotlight. We're going to have her go through and kind of explain the how. We're What is the how? How does this thing do it? And so for those of you that are new to the live stream, we have some amazing testimonials like Sherry, and then we go through and have Dr. Tiffany explain to us how this thing works. And then we bring out another testimonial, and then I'll go through some of the science, time limited, and then we bring everybody back out for a Q&A. So if you have any questions for Sherry, I do want to point out, I don't talk about this very often, but my 10-year-old, I don't know if you guys know this or not, my 10-year-old, he's not on a full system, but if we're going to go and have, kid food, right? The burger, the white bread, the potato chips, that stuff, he gets a balance before every one of those meals. And Unimate, he drinks the Unimate before school, game changer. 10 years old, game changer.
Wow.
He doesn't drink 2 of them a day, but one Unimate before school is an absolute game changer. My 17-year-old daughter's on the system, so I do have my children on it as well. And I think that's the biggest testimonial of all. When you start giving it to your kids, because we all know what our kids mean to us, there isn't a parent out there who's going to give something to their kids that would harm them. Right? So take that point. Sherry's giving it to her child. I give it to my children. So, okay, Sherry, so do you mind coming back here in a little bit?
Sure.
Oh, you're a rock star.
Yes. Thank you, Sherry.
I really liked her, Dr. Tiff.
I know.
A lot. I'm messing around with camera angles here. We're just going to do this. You know what? I want to do something a little bit different here, Dr. Tiff. Not too much different. But while you are doing your presentation, last week I asked people who were on the system to give a quick little, 1 paragraph, 2 paragraph of what the system has done for them. And I started highlighting those. And I think what I would like to do is, while you're giving your presentation, I would like to highlight those while you're giving your presentation. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Swing from the hip. Okay, so I see right here, my adult child takes it. It's done wonders for all of us. Look at that, Luis. So if you guys wouldn't mind, would you give us just a quick little, don't embellish anything, but if you've had a positive experience from the system, would you go ahead and just give a quick little blurb as to what the system has done for you? And while Dr. Tiffany is giving her presentation, I think I'm just going to pop those up just like I just did this right here.
Awesome.
We'll see if I don't know if I like that or not. We'll see.
Awesome. Well, we talk about this because the problem hasn't changed. And so I do love how Sherry came on here and even talked about her child, because the reality is our children are having these issues too. So the problem, poor cardiometabolic health. Only 93% of people in the U.S., well, not only 93% of people in the U.S. are actually struggling. A lot of them don't realize they are. Only 7% aren't. So 1 in 3 people are dealing with something with metabolic syndrome, and insulin resistance is at the root of that. And then atorvastatin, the medication that, Jim was talking about, that's the prescription that we as providers prescribe to decrease cardiovascular risk, but it only does that at one out of 100 people. But if you actually make lifestyle changes, which are a little harder to do just on your own for most people, but that can really decrease your risks by 39%. And so, over 38 million Americans have diabetes. This is one of the leading conditions in that poor metabolic health, okay? That whole umbrella. 90 to 95% of them have type 2, and that was unheard of. Usually there was a higher percentage of type 1, but type 2 is really rising. So 1 in 5 people with diabetes don't even know they have it. And nearly 97.6 million adults are affected by prediabetes. This is the condition before you're given the diagnosis of diabetes. And the big issue here is, when I start even digging into this more, this was a leading cause of death in 1912, people. That I didn't stutter. I didn't mess up my words. 1912. Okay. Even worse than 30 years ago. Okay. That's ridiculous. Why is it still the leading cause of death? You mean to tell me we couldn't figure out a way to help that? You mean to tell me atorvastatin didn't help that? No, it didn't. So clearly what we're doing isn't working. So when I set out to be a physician, I wanted to have an impact, and I thought that's what I was going to be able to do. But unfortunately, medicine made a turn and became so pharmaceutically driven to where I was giving out a lot of prescriptions, more than I was relying on lifestyle changes. I didn't really know how to help people. I didn't have the tools. So I had my people looking just like this lady here in the top left. But as I got into lifestyle medicine, became metabolic health coach certified, I really started to believe, you know what? We can actually change the course of our healthcare. Our genetics, it's literally like a land you're given, and how you till that land determines, are you going to have crappy crops or are you going to have good crops? That is all on you. Now, of course, it's going to make it a little harder with some things, but the reality is our lifestyle makes a huge impact. And so we saw the numbers with the US, but over half of the world is struggling with insulin resistance. Okay. And that's in the center of all these other diseases everybody's heard of: diabetes, heart disease, cancer, fatty liver disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, okay, erectile dysfunction, migraines, depression, all these things. And so to kind of get a better understanding, what this entails, it's important for us to know the symptoms. Now, insulin resistance occurs 10 to 20 years before you see your sugars increase, or before you get some of these issues like high blood pressure or high cholesterol. But the symptoms are like the cravings for sugar and salty, the brain fog, even anxiety and depression is linked to insulin resistance. The dark patch on the neck that Sherry was talking about with her daughter, that's not dirt. When you actually improve insulin resistance, that gets better. The skin tags, that's because when insulin is too high, it starts to behave like a growth hormone. It makes skin tags, and that dark patches are layers of skin, excess growth, okay? Erectile dysfunction, polycystic ovarian syndrome, those things are hugely linked with insulin resistance. So much so, when we improve that, we're seeing women actually get pregnant, which is huge. Women have been told for years they would never get pregnant. Once they start addressing this insulin resistance, all of a sudden we got new babies popping up at events. And then the high cholesterol, because insulin resistance increases cholesterol and triglycerides. And then, of course, that dreaded belly fat. That's the fat that actually kills us. It's not just about being cute. It's about decreasing our risk of dying early. And so getting rid of that fat that's sitting around the organs and around that midsection is important. And so what is insulin resistance? People are aware of insulin as a hormone. Our body makes this from the pancreas, but people who are having issues, they sometimes are given insulin. So for type 2 diabetes, insulin is one of the drugs that poorly controlled type 2 diabetes are given. And the type 1 diabetics are given insulin because they can't make it. But this insulin hormone does a lot of things, but we're going to talk about how it helps to deliver energy into the cells and how it stores excess glucose as fat, but regulates blood sugar levels so you don't have those crazy highs and lows. And insulin resistance, that literally is when your body just stops listening to the insulin. Almost like if you're somebody who, you started drinking, started having a glass of wine, and you get a little buzz. The next 2 or 3 times you realize that same amount of wine doesn't give you the same buzz, you've developed a tolerance. And so when things are floating around too much in the bloodstream, those cells develop a tolerance for the insulin. And they literally don't like letting insulin, the little black figure here, push in that glucose into those cells. They don't want it to happen. And so what plays a big role in this? Having too much insulin in the bloodstream. And then what can cause too much insulin in the bloodstream? What we put into our bodies. Now, there's other factors, but we're going to focus on that. Now, there's 3 macronutrients: the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the fats. So your carbohydrates, they break down into glucose. So that makes your body have to release a lot amount of insulin to get that into the cells to use that energy. Your protein does not break down into that much glucose. So as you can see with that blue line, it doesn't cause you to make as much insulin. And then your fats, even more, even less so, okay? So when we look at this graph on the bottom here, we're looking at how the insulin levels fluctuate with our meals based upon how much carbohydrates we're eating with those meals. If we have a high carbohydrate breakfast, it's going to kick up that insulin. Same thing with the lunch. And when you have those snacks and you're eating frequently, you really don't give your body time to get that insulin level to come down. And so because of that whole food pyramid that was back in 1992, we were told to eat 6 to 11 servings of carbohydrates. How are you going to get that in unless you're eating every couple of hours, right? Or large amounts with your meals. And so that has not served us well at all. And then our carbohydrates that we are eating, especially the processed ones or your fast food carbs, right? They're being stripped of the fiber. So they're missing the thing that was there to protect us from that glucose spike and thus that insulin spike. And of course, everybody knows why we need the fiber, but what it does is it helps us with our digestive system. And there's trillions of bacteria there. There's so many great things that come from our gut. I mean, you have the fact that 90% of serotonin is released from the gut. So if we don't have a good, healthy gut, no wonder why so many people are struggling with their mood, right? We need our gut. But it also, the fiber helps decrease the blood sugar, it dampens the effect. And so that way, if you dampen the effect of the glucose, your pancreas won't have to release as much insulin, and it will allow your cells time to become insulin sensitive, to use insulin appropriately. And the reality is, it is not entirely lack of willpower, being lazy. Some of these foods are actually addictive. I mean, they actually have so much sugar in it that it spikes up a dopamine response. And dopamine is released when we're doing something pleasurable. Addictive behaviors release a lot of dopamine. That's a neurotransmitter in our brain. It feels great. So when that sugar kicks up crazy high from the Cheerios, the Chex, the M&Ms, and then you release a whole bunch of dopamine, you're like on cloud nine, right? Well, your body's releasing insulin to deal with all that sugar, and it's going to overshoot, especially if you have insulin resistance. You're going to have too much insulin floating around anyway. It's going to knock that sugar down so fast. Now you're feeling horrible. Now you have the crash. And because you had that crash and that kicked up so much dopamine, you're looking for the next hit. You literally feel like you can't eat just one because of that dopamine spike. And these processed foods, they are killing us. And so, yes, this is us when we're eating all these sugars and the dopamine levels kicking in. Our brain is like, give me some more, give me some more. And then it feels like, it's calling us. It's calling us by name, okay? I like to say there are 5 things that you can do immediately on your own. You can, that you can do, and it puts the power back in your hand. But if I'm going to be perfectly honest, I know a lot of people need help with these 5 things. But these are the things that I like to say is in our power, right? So I don't like saying low carb diet per se. I like to say focusing on your protein and your veggies. That way you don't feel like you're cutting out anything. None of us do well with thinking we're cutting out something, right? Avoiding processed foods. Now, that's the only thing I say. Yeah, absolutely don't do that. Your resistance training on top of your cardio. For my people that don't move at all, just move something. Okay, 10 minutes walking around after a meal, great. That would be what I would say would be a good idea to do. And then high fiber. We've already talked about the importance of fiber, but the thing we didn't actually spend a lot of time on would be the fasting or time-based eating. And the reason why that's important is because when you're not eating, you literally shut down your gut. So you shut down the production of insulin. So you allow your cells to become sensitive to now use glucose the way it's supposed to be used. So it's not floating around in the bloodstream, and you get those insulin levels down. And then if you get into that 16, 17 hours, you get into that place called autophagy, which is literally a real thing. It was found by Dr. Osumi in 2016. He got a Nobel Prize for it. But what happens with this is you get cellular cleanup. Your cells actually rebuild themselves, get rid of broken processes, get rid of pathogens, things that aren't supposed to be there. It's a healing process that happens. And so tapping into that does everything. And depending on how long you fast, you can start working on your gut, everything. So when we see those 5 things, what I found out in my 20 years of practicing is that the majority of people need something to make those things easier. And so our GLP-1 hormone, which is released by our gut, the small intestines, this is already there. It's actually released when you have carbohydrates. It actually delays gastric emptying, how fast food moves through your gut, but it tells your brain that, you know what, you're not really hungry, so stop eating, okay? Unfortunately, we aren't responding to this hormone as well, and we aren't producing it as well as we should because we aren't doing those 5 things I mentioned previously, okay? Now, and sleep and stress affect that too. So Big Pharma figured this out and said, oh my gosh, I got to do something. I got to capitalize on this. Not only does GLP-1 help with all of that, it also helps with the sugars. And that was originally what the whole purpose was. They made the semaglutides, those Ozempic, Wegovy, Rybelsus to improve sugars, but they saw weight loss and they said, oh my gosh, this is where the money is, okay? That semaglutide and those pharmaceuticals, they actually bind to a receptor to pretend like they're the hormone our body already makes. Okay, so they're fakers. But when they come in, they come with a lot of side effects. I mean, the whole thing, blindness, thyroid cancer, the fact that you lose 40% of your lean mass, your muscle and bone, and some water, yeah, those are problematic. Gut perforation, gut paralysis, those things are not okay, especially if you can boost your own GLP-1 naturally. And once you lose all that muscle, oh my gosh, that is so hard. You can't gain that back when you start getting into your 30s and your 40s. You can't gain your muscle back, okay? You gain the fat back is what happens. And then after 2 years, it stops working with the cravings, which is why you're taking them if you're using these for weight loss, okay? And then you have this whole crash diet and semaglutide trap to where when you're trying to grow those, when you stop it and you don't want to gain the weight back, well, you will, because you've actually decreased muscle growth with that weight loss because of how fast it was done. And so that's why you see so many people that gain so much weight when they stop these injections. So then you want to be like, so what can I do? What can help my own GLP-1? Well, great thing is chlorogenic acid can, and that's already in things like green coffee beans, yerba mate tea, which is what we're going to talk about in a good amount in the products we like, but also in apples and some other things too. There is actually some good studies showing how chlorogenic acid decreases the absorption, allows the glucose spikes to be dampened, which is huge because that way you don't have a lot of insulin absorbed. You don't have a lot of insulin flowing in the bloodstream, but it boosts your GLP-1. Now, the great thing about the products we like is one of the other polyphenols has ferulic acid. And when that gets to the gut, it gets broken down into another product that actually boosts GLP production even more because it stops the inhibition of GLP-1. So with all this information, with me talking, me getting on lives, me doing events, me talking to other people like Sherry, I'm starting to feel like a superhero. But not only that, I'm empowering people who want to take back control of their health to be the superheroes of their own lives. And so I love it. And I'm literally just a doctor who's tired of writing prescriptions. You can find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And that's all, folks.
You're amazing. So I was a little bit of a change of plan there. I thought I was onto a good idea, and that's how I do. I kind of just improv a lot. I don't really have a script. And I was like, let's get some testimonials up while Dr. Tiff is talking. It was an awful idea. Blocking your face was obviously distracting. And so I thought, well, I'll move her face up top. And then that just switched the whole thing around. And it was like, you know what? Broke. Don't fix it. So when we're done, I'll go through. My bad. Okay, so I want to go over to TikTok. Krishna on TikTok says, the system helps me reverse my pre-diabetic. My IBS and migraines are gone, lowered 40 pounds of body fat. Dr. Tiffany's getting a lot of love over on TikTok. Deb says, headaches, fatigue, low testosterone, allergies are gone, down 75 pounds, feeling amazing, love this system. A lot of people are making comments about the current wealth care system. Let me see. I'm just seeing if there's any over here that I might have missed. Somebody says I need new grandbaby. Sophie. So Sophie over on TikTok is it was the PCOS conversation. I think we had Chelsea on our live stream about 6 weeks, 5 weeks ago, something like that. If you find the Healthy Pitmaster, you can see the Healthy Pitmaster. If you find me on YouTube, it's still up on that YouTube. And Dr. Tiffany Marie has a YouTube as well. It will still be up there. And it's about 5 or 6 weeks ago. You'll see one with Chelsea talking about reversing. Chelsea just had her baby a little while ago. Absolutely amazing. Okay, but now I wanted to come through here, and I had shown Renee's. Renee is down over 70 pounds, and I got to Alfredo. Brain fog, erectile dysfunction, migraine headaches gone, lost 30 pounds. Sheila's down 54 pounds, fatty liver and inflammation are gone, pain's gone, all-day energy, no more restless leg. I want to build on that all-day energy here in a moment, okay? Jennifer, who was our guest last week, tearjerker. Go watch that. It was very emotional. No longer a pre-diabetic. Cholesterol numbers are in range, normal blood pressure, more energy, and feel 50 pounds, and down 50 pounds. I feel decades younger. Who doesn't want to feel that? Rhonda Flores, I've lost 34 pounds and some inches. I sleep better through the night again. I can breathe better. No headaches, no more restless leg, neuropathy, or heartburn. I am not depressed, and I feel better than I have in years. Before starting the Feel Great system, I felt 90. I just turned 62, and I feel like I'm in my 30s again. let's see, going into my third week in the program and my inflammation is down and I lost 5 pounds. Glenda,
Yes,
stick
yes.
with it. Okay. You're just starting to scrape the surface. Kim
Mhm.
Carr, who was our guest about a month
Yeah.
ago, I believe, another tearjerker, it has completely changed my life. Feel great and down 73 pounds since January 23rd, walking 30 to 40 minutes every
Yes.
day. It's amazing. And I could keep on going. There are
It
a lot
is.
of testimonials. Go check it out on Facebook. All of these testimonials look like they're coming from Facebook. Um, so go check them out. Yeah, Louise, I put 40-year-olds to shame with my energy level.
Yeah, there's great testimonies over there.
You know, Dr. Tiff, so here's something I've been on lately. I've been on this kick, and I don't know how to word it just right, so I'm probably going to butcher it. But you know, the Unimate booster kit costs $135. It's the cheapest way to buy Unimate. That's our tea. I'm going to go into detail here in just a little bit about that. That is 2 boxes of Unimate for $135. It's 60 packets. That means you get 60 drinks for $135. And if you focus on $135, you think, man, that's expensive. Or you could say it costs $2.25 per drink. We'd spend $2.25. You can't buy a Coca-Cola for $2.25. You can't buy anything for $2.25. Now, to that point, all the people in here saying that they have like all day energy and clean the whole house kind of energy, and what do? We turn to things like Starbucks or Monster Energy or something like that. It's not that unreasonable to think that a drink could give you that kind of energy. This drink is all natural. There's no side effects. There are all sorts of other benefits, like what Dr. Tiffany was just talking about. But if all of that seems unbelievable, then what if we just told you that you could feel amazing drinking this tea for $2.25? Does that become believable? Now, in a moment, I'm going to talk about balance. I'll go into detail about balance. But for an additional $24 per month, you get a fiber supplement that the Cleveland Clinic, and I'll go into detail again, says could lower your risk for cardiovascular disease. And so for $159, you got a drink that'll make you feel amazing and a fiber supplement that would lower your risk for heart disease. And
Yep.
they give you your money back. If you're interested in the product, to transition over to Sheena, if you're interested in the product, who invited you here, they will tell you how to order the product. Okay. If you're thinking, hey, I want to do this, I want to try this, get with the person who invited you here. They will tell you how to order. But I want to bring in Sheena because Sheena's story, Sheena really has defied the odds.
Mhm.
Sheena, you got the mic, and I love your story.
Thank you. I'm 43. I suffered for 3.5, almost 4 years with gastroparesis. I was deathly sick. I stayed in the bed. My son watched me suffer. I would bring me garbage bags to throw up in. I would sleep in the bathroom floor. I would wake up with throw up on my clothes. Um, if I couldn't make it to the bathroom, it was endoscopies every month, um, weekly visits to my clinic to get Zofran shots, visits to the ER to get fluids because I was so dehydrated. I mean, it was so, they would run 2 bags at one time, and stomach scans. And when they would come in with a paddle that they would pump up just to get on my stomach and pump my stomach to get food that would stay in my stomach for 2 weeks and make me turn side to side and just pump and pump. And it hurt really bad to make the food try to move after making me drink this chalky stuff, big gallons of chalky stuff. And they would say, it's not moving. It is literally not moving. And I would think, y'all have just moved my kidneys. Like this is hurting really bad. And I would be on Prilosec, Reglan, Protonics, Zofran, Phenergan constantly. And they give me pictures, the scans of the food that is in my stomach. If they called it residue. Yes, bed was my home. And they basically said there was nothing else that we can do. You're just stuck. And that was a bad feeling. And the bad feeling that really hurt me the worst was my son having to see me suffer because he had lost his whole family and it was just me. And there was nothing else that it was going to be done. You know, I was fake smiling. It was basically the end. You know, I'm not going to even get to see my son graduate. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? This is it. I'm just, if I can just make it to see him graduate, I will be happy with that. That's it. That's it. So it was, I basically had to live with it, is what they told me. So I started, well, for 2 months, I'm like, this is not going to help me with this. It's not going to do it. I had the mindset, just like other people, I had the mindset it's not going to help me with this system. It's not because I've been told by the doctor, there's nothing we can do. You're just, it's it. So for 2 months, my best friend, he's like, you're going to do this. Just do this. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So the first month, and I hadn't went to the clinic to get my Zofran shot, and that was really weird. I hadn't been to the ER to get fluids. That was really weird. Well, second month, I'm still doing good. Before the end of my third month, I was completely free of everything. I haven't even took a Zofran pill, haven't even took a Phenergan pill. And I was like, I'm going to see my gastro doctor. He documented everything. He looked up everything about unicity. He put it in the computer and he loved everything. He said, do not stop what you are doing. He said, this has saved and give you your life back.
Mm.
He said, I will share this with others. And I was like, what? I mean, because the first doctor wouldn't even hear or even, hear of this. And it was the best thing because the only thing I could think of was my son. And I actually hugged the doctor, and my best friend was sitting in the waiting room waiting for me. And I come out and I'm like, you're never going to believe this. I said, he documented everything. And like I said, I started in October of 2024. And by the end, I had beaten gastroparesis after almost 4 years of suffering. I would be driving my car and have to pull over and throw up in the middle of the road. And I would actually pee on myself. And there would be times that I would be in the shower and I would look down and there would this is really bad to say, but I would have bleeding rectile. And that was really bad. My blood pressure would drop so bad that my best friend would be sitting on the edge of my bed at 1 o'clock at night trying to get me to go to the ER. And I would say, Michael, there's nothing they can do. They done told me there's nothing I can do. I've got to live with it.
Mm.
And my son laying beside me in the bed too because he had called Michael. But yes, I did get my life back. And with the Feel Great system, I absolutely got my life back. I was, I was, I was, I was bad gone. I beat gastroparesis. I wished I had known about this 4 years ago, the whole 4 years that I was going through it. I was so deathly sick. I could not hold my head up. I canceled plans. And when I did try to go somewhere, I would just fake smile. I mean, and then I would privately go in the bathroom or go outside and just throw up.
Mm.
I mean, it's a bad thing when you have a paralyzed, dead stomach. And when food sits in your stomach, it's not going to go the other way. It's going to come back out this way. And when it's going to come through your fingers, or through your nose, it's going to come back out eventually. And I did lose 34 pounds because it was just staying so inflammation in me that it was just making me so miserable. I could barely hold my eyes open. I was swelled up and I was so tired. I couldn't tell y'all how tired I was. I had really given up on life.
You are getting so much love right now. I'm looking
Mhm.
at TikTok over here. You're getting some love over there. You got a lot of love here on Facebook. It's an amazing story, and it is it's it's the power of consistency. Be consistent with the product. You know, the funny thing,
It
the company
is.
doesn't say, the company doesn't make these types of claims. They don't say, hey, you're going to
Right.
reverse. That's a ridiculous claim to make. They don't say you're
Yeah.
going to reverse type 2 diabetes. I
Mhm.
reverse type 2
Right.
diabetes. What they're
Mhm.
doing is addressing the root cause. And guess what? When you start to address root cause, all sorts of other things come together. And so, Sheena, I love it. I'm going to blaze through the product, how to use the product. There's a lot of people wondering how to use the product really quick. So I'm going to shut your camera down really quick. I'm going to
Thank
blaze through
you,
that.
Sheena.
And I'm going to bring you
Absolutely.
right back, Sheena. If you could, for any questions, I would assume some people are going to have some questions for you. But man, you are getting a lot of love. Rhonda says she's crying.
Yeah.
But it was the hardest part was my son seeing me have to suffer.
Yeah. Oh my
All
goodness.
right. Okay, Sheena, stick around for me. And Dr. Tiffany, I'm going to blaze through this really, really quick. Okay. So, guys, there's all sorts of questions. I'm sure. How does this thing work? Dr. Tiffany kind of talked about insulin resistance. The product really targets insulin resistance. We drink two products. There is Unimate and there is Balance. Now, Unimate is a yerba mate tea. You heard Dr. Tiffany talk about yerba mate. It's a yerba mate extract. That means it started off as yerba mate. It's still grown in South America, the regions of Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, those places. It's still hand harvested by the original farmers down there. It's still fire roasted in a very similar way to the way that it's always been done. But Dr. Tiffany mentioned that it was high in chlorogenic acid. That's what the difference is they go and they extract the good things like chlorogenic acid, and then they concentrate them, and then they purify it. They get rid of the things that we don't want, things like heavy metals and pesticides and that sort of thing. And what we end up with is a very, very pure form of yerba mate. Now, if you've never had yerba mate, it's quite bitter, quite bitter. It's an acquired taste, let's put it that way. And so Unicity uses lemon rind to flavor it, so it's got a pleasant flavor. And then
Mhm.
they sweeten it with stevia, all natural, plant based, no chemicals. Gives you an amazing pick me up.
Mhm.
If you're finding it difficult to get out of bed in the morning, or you slept for 12 hours and you feel like I can sleep for another 4 hours, this costs $2.25. You should give it a shot. If after 90 days you don't feel amazing, if you don't feel like you got your money's worth, ask for a refund. They will give you all of your money back. It's that simple. Now, in addition to that, it has also been shown to increase GLP-1. It's also been shown to increase ketone production. It's also been shown to make you a better fat burner. Dr. Ben Dickman, Brigham Young University found that it made us a better fat burner. Published research work on it. Now, the second study, so we drink two of those per day. If you're doing the math, $4.50 is what you're in for the day. We drink a Balance immediately before our heaviest carbohydrate meal of the day. Now, Balance was developed in the late 80s by Rexall Pharmacy. Maybe some of you remember Rexall Pharmacy. They developed it to help with cholesterol, cardiovascular health. They were trying to help people. Number one cause of death is cardiovascular disease. Let's address that. And so we've long known, everybody's long known, that fiber helps with that. I mean, it's blasphemy, but the Cheerios box says it on the front, right? Fiber is good for your heart. And so all they did was capitalize on that. But what they did was they took 7 different types of fiber, 7 different plant-based fibers, and they paired it with a multivitamin. Now, here's the deal. Not only is fiber good for your heart, but multivitamins are too. In fact, a B complex has been shown to reduce homocysteine levels. And so guess what? It's a multivitamin with those 7 plant-based fibers.
Mhm.
This
Mhm.
right here was groundbreaking. Groundbreaking. It was released in the early 90s. Well, guess what else was released in the mid 90s? Metformin. Why have you never heard of this? Maybe. I don't know. It was studied in 2001 at the Cleveland Clinic. That is the top heart hospital in the United States. I'm biased. Go to Google, ask Google, what's the top heart hospital in the United States? It will tell you the Cleveland Clinic. The Cleveland Clinic, they did a double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. That trial was published, peer-reviewed, published, and then it's been cited 20 times. It's in Metabolism Journal. Let me just bring this up really quick. I'm going to go to, bear with me a moment. Let's go here. Sorry, I'm attempting to bring up a study here. Okay, here we go. This study right here, this is PubMed. It's an official website of the United States government. Fiber and multivitamin combination therapy is a beneficial influence on low-density lipoprotein and homocysteine. You'll notice it was published in 2002. We've known this for some time. Now, if you wanted to read that in depth, you could go and actually click that little DOI right there, and that will take you over to this page. And of course, my computer is locking up on me a little bit. Here we go. This page right here, Metabolism Journal, and you can read it here, but you can't read the entire thing. What you'll have to do is download the full issue. It's a free download, or you could go to unicityscience.org. In fact, Dr. Tiff, would you type unicityscience.org in the comment section and put that up there? If you went to unicityscience.org, you can see it in full text right here. This was done at the preventative cardiology section of the Cleveland Clinic in 2001. It was published in 2002. You'll see dietary, the fiber tested was BioSlife 2. That's another name for balance. And they concluded such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Now, that is the top heart hospital in the United States saying that BioSlife, if taken regularly, could reduce heart disease for everyone and potentially decrease the need and or dose for statin medications. That's a very, very, very bold statement from the top heart hospital in the United States. It was also studied at the University of Sydney, Australia, where they found, and by the way, that's the home of the glycemic index, they found that it lowered the glycemic as well as the insulin index, lowered insulin secretion. That was what Dr. Tiffany taught us earlier is the problem. The glycemicindex.com found that it lowered the insulin index. They also found that it lowered blood glucose levels by 20 to 28% and blood insulin levels by 13 to 27%. Those are absolutely massive numbers. Now, there was an in-house study done a little while ago where they gave test patients waffles and maple syrup and then monitored their blood glucose with balance, and they found actually a 34% reduction in blood glucose at 30 minutes and a 37% reduction at 45 minutes. So it's nearly double what Dr. Jenny Bren Miller talked about in 2011. So how do we use the system? You wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, you're going to get a bottle. Dr. Tiff, do you have your bottle? I always forget my bottle.
You know I do. I'm always ready.
So when you order the system, you're going to get this bottle. You're also going to get a nice little stand mixer. Truthfully, I use the stand mixer when I'm on vacation. I don't use it at home. But you're going to get that little bottle. On the back of the bottle, there's a line that says Unimate. You're going to fill it up to that line. Add this, add cold water, add hot water, add whatever you want to do. Add it to it, shake it up, and sip on that. You've noticed Dr. Tiff's been sipping on that this entire live stream. That is the key. Sip on it. If you're like me and you find it hard to sip on a small bottle of cold tea, you can add more hot water and sip on it that way. That's what I do. I add hot water and I sip on it. You'll notice it is here in Florida. It's 8 p.m. right now, 7:58, and I'm drinking this. So if you're caffeine sensitive like I am, the way that it acts with caffeine, it's completely different, okay? So sip on this. When it's gone, simply drink the second one. Now, immediately before your heaviest carbohydrate meal of the day, you're going to crack this open, use the same bottle that Dr. Tiff has. There's a line there for balance. This time you're going to use cold water. You're going to add this to it, shake it up, and chug it. And I want you to pretend like you're at a frat party or a sorority house in college, and you're just chugging that thing as quick as it'll go down the hatch, and then simply enjoy your meal. That's it. We're going to pair that with time-based eating, and you're going to feel absolutely amazing. If you don't feel absolutely amazing, ask for a refund. They will give you all your money back. 90 days. Try their product for 90 days. You're going to feel amazing. If you don't, ask for a refund. If you're wanting to try this, get with the person who invited you to this live stream, and they will tell you how to order it. It's that simple. It is that simple. Get with the person who invited you here, and if you stumbled across it, get with either myself or Dr. Tiff. We'll point you in the right direction. Okay, we are at our 1 hour mark. I like to try and get it to an hour, though that's never actually happened. I usually like to bring out some questions. I think there was one. Let's see. Scotty just giving Sheena some love. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tiff. There is unicityscience.org. Louise says she likes hers cold. Okay. We're a little bit short on time. I normally like to have people ask questions, but I'm going to kind of jump right into this part of this. Sherry, there's a lot of skeptics out there. 30 seconds. What do you say to somebody who's watching this and thinking this is hocus pocus? What do you say?
It is definitely not hocus pocus. I am a very skeptical person. I say, just do it. You get 90 days. If you don't like it, they will give you your money back. But I promise you, you won't want your money back because it's the best thing that's ever happened to me and my family. Give it a try. You have nothing to lose. You can't put a price on your health.
I love that. Again, I feel like that is the most common theme. Everybody that says, they say, I wish I wouldn't have waited so long. Same question to you, Sheena. What would you say?
For everybody that's been watching these lives every Wednesday night, you're saying, I bet this won't work for me. I just know this won't work for me. I'll just keep feeling this way. I wish you would change your mindset because it will help you with any system of symptoms you've got. Give it a chance. I mean, just give it a chance. I mean, I really wished you would. I really wished you would. That's what I want you to change your mindset. Please do that.
That's so powerful. Sherry, Sheena, thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thank you,
Thank you.
ladies.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Tiff, one more week, and I see over here, Fearfully and Wonderfully Made asks me if we can extend the time. We could extend the time, and we have by 2 minutes. I really, both Dr. Tiffany and I are on the same page of we like the time frame. I like an hour. I like that people know that this is a 1 hour live stream every week. If we start stretching it out to 90 minutes or something like that, I like the fact that people can just come and they know that it's an hour. And so far we're hitting 62 minutes. I'm going to call that okay.
Yes.
Dr.
that's
Tiff, what do you
good.
say to that person?
Well, you know what? To Sheena's comment, there are too many people that are miserable and struggling. And they've tried everything and nothing has worked. So when you see somebody come on like Sheena with these crazy symptoms that you want to say, no, that's not going to help her. What is she doing? And she does it. And she gets on here and tells the story like she does. I mean, pulling tears out of everybody. Is it worth you being Sheena? If you're sitting at home miserable in pain, is it worth you being Sheena in a place to where you are past that? Is it worth trying? I think it is. And that's why we do this every week. Is to be able to help those people that think there's no other answer, there's no other recourse. You don't have to rely on prescriptions. These natural tools are helping so many people with so many things, and we're the better for it.
Yes, we are. I'm going to use my wrap up here to do a couple plugs for some upcoming events. Okay, there is an event in Fort Lauderdale. If you're in the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, there's an event coming up July, help me out, Dr. Tiff, July 11th and 12th, I believe.
Yes, 11th and 12th in Miami. The
Okay.
Rise.
If you would like to go to Rise, Dr. Ben Bickman will be a guest speaker there. There's going to be tons of energy. Dr. Ben Bickman is the world's leading metabolic scientist. He will be there giving a lecture. If you would like to go with that, again, get with the person who invited you here, and they can tell you how to go to that. You don't have to be a distributor. You can be a customer. You could be a non-customer. If you just want to go and listen to him, anybody can go. It's open to the public.
Oh, yeah.
There's another event in November that is sanctioned by Unicity themselves, and that event is really getting big. 6th through 8th, I believe, Dr. Tiff. I'm going off memory here. November 6th through 8th, and this one will be in Orlando. And they're calling it America's Convention. And they've got Dr. Ben Bickman will be a speaker there, Dr. Mindy Pelz, Dr. Nina Teicholz, and now Dr. Jason Fung will all be guests. This is such an amazing lineup. That's 4 doctors. There's still 2. They're kind of surprising us. They're going to find out. I guess we'll find out the next doctor here probably tomorrow night, maybe.
Maybe.
Feel like it's sneaking up on us.
Yes.
Okay, so we got another doctor is going to be unveiled here in the very near future, and that again is available to the public. To anybody who wants to go, whether you're a customer or not. You don't have to be a customer. If you want to go to that, just get with the person who either brought you here. Again, if you stumbled across this live stream, just get with Dr. Tiff or myself. We'll point you in the right direction. Guys, I want to kind of part with this. I'm a big fan of quotes. There's a lot of quotes that run through my head, right?
Wait,
one
Jim.
of my favorite quotes.
Wait, Jim. Yeah. Okay, and so you're also going to be having an event for your people. Where are you going to be?
Yes, I do a lot of events around the country. I will be. My camera just wigged out on me a little bit. Can you see me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so I will be in Destin, Florida, actually July 8th. I will be in Fort Lauderdale, July 10th. I will be in the Providence, Rhode Island area in June. In fact, if you go to the Healthy Pitmaster on Facebook and look at the events, you can see all of the events that are currently set up. And I would love to shake your hand if you guys happen to be at any one of those. Feel free to come out and shake hands. I would love to see you there.
And I'm actually going to be in DC tomorrow. So if anybody who's actually in the DMV area, I will be there too. So then reach out to me. And I got a couple other events coming up. So yeah, we're busy. We're busy.
Yes, we are. Getting out and spreading the word. It's been the best. It's absolutely amazing. My favorite quote in the world, it's Henry David Thoreau. Thoreau's quote. And it is, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation." And I believe that to be so true. I think so many of us live a life of quiet desperation. And quiet desperation can be defined as financial ruin. Maybe you're not happy at work. Maybe you're sick and you start to give up hope. Whatever it may be. The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. I think that is so true, so incredibly true. You don't have to be.
Yes.
Okay, you don't have to be. Now, one of my other favorite quotes, and she's not even really on record as saying this. She doesn't know that I go around and talk about this, but Selena Gomez, she was accepting an American Music Award probably 10 or 12 years ago. Truthfully, I couldn't pick her out of a crowd. If she walked by me, I wouldn't know who she was. I don't know her music. I don't know her movies, but I did catch a clip of this acceptance speech at an American Music Award, and she was talking about her struggles, her mental struggles. And she was encouraging all the younger people who follow her to not suffer like that. And she made the comment, "If you are broken, you do not have to stay broken." And when you pair that with Henry David Thoreau's quote, that is kind of my motto. If you are broken, you do not have to stay broken. The mass of men lead lives. If you are this person, if you are helpless and you are hopeless, get with the person who brought you here. There's hope.
Yes.
Dr. Tiff, I loved this live stream. Absolutely loved this live stream. Guys, we're back next Wednesday. I know we went way long this week. We'll see you next Wednesday, Dr. Tiff.
Yes. Thank you.